Hi, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of our Business Immigration podcast. Today, we'll discuss a topic that we know is very important to you as we receive a lot of inquiries about it. In fact, most of your questions revolve around this subject. I'm Alicja Bielawska, and as always, I'm joined by my co host Jarmila Entezari. But first, we want to wish all our listeners a happy new year. We hope 2025 brings you success in both your personal and professional lives.
Happy New Year to everyone tuning in. Thank you for being with us throughout 2024. And whether as a client or a listener of our podcast, we are excited to bring you even more valuable insight into business immigration in the year ahead. We are kicking off with the fascinating topics today, permitted activities 7 and paid engagements. These are short-term options that many businesses and professionals don't fully understand, but they can be a lifesaver when used correctly.
In our last episode, we focused on employment law considerations when hiring from abroad. Today, we'll shift gears and talk about business visits, what you can do without a visa, when a visitor visa might be required, and how to stay compliant while maximizing opportunities.
And as always, we'll break it all down into practical examples to help you make the most of these rules.
Let's start with a question we hear a lot. Do I even need a visa to visit the UK for business purposes? And the answer is it depends. Some nationals, in particular from visa exempt countries like European Union countries, United States, Canada, or Australia, can enter the UK for up to 6 months without needing a visitor visa, provided they meet certain conditions.
That's right. And these individuals can carry out specific business related activities under permitted activities or permitted paid engagements without applying for a visa beforehand. But it's crucial to understand the rules and prepare the right documents to present at the border. I must say that we have been assisting in these types of cases a lot recently.
Let's take an example. Imagine you are a Germany based business consultant attending meetings and site visits for a project in London. If your activities fall within the scope of permitted activities and you are staying for less than 6 months, you don't need to apply for a visa. However, you need to carry evidence such as invitation letter from the UK company and proof of your return travel and funds.
Correct. And it's worth noting that being visa exempt doesn't mean there are no checks. Border officers can scrutinize your purpose of visit and documentation. If you can't provide evidence or if your planned activities exceed what's allowed, you could be denied entry.
So the takeaway here is even if you don't need a visa, you still need to plan ahead and make sure you're staying within the rules. And this brings us neatly to the next topic. What permitted activities actually include?
Permitted activities refer to the activities you can carry out in the UK without requiring a visa. For instance, you can visit family and friends, participate in educational exchanges or visits, or volunteer. Additionally, there are specific business activities you can undertake in the UK as a visitor without needing a visa. These include attending meetings, conferences, seminars, or interviews, negotiating and signing deals and contracts, conducting site visits and inspections, and performing activities related to your overseas employment remotely from within the UK, provided that this is not the primary purpose of the visit. There are other permitted activities as well.
Our clients often ask about permitted activity 7, so-called PA7. It says that an employee of an overseas company may visit the UK to carry out specific tasks related to machinery, equipment, or technology when there is a contract between the overseas and with a UK-based company or organization. These tasks may include installing, dismantling, repairing, servicing or providing advice on machinery, equipment, or computer software or hardware. The overseas employee may also train UK-based workers to perform these services. This is permitted under the following conditions. The first condition: the overseas company is either the manufacturer or supplier of the machinery, equipment, or technology in question. So, for example, a company from Italy produces pipes and needs to send their employees to the UK to install those pipes for the UK-based client. Or the second condition: the overseas company is responsible for after-sales services as part of a contract agreed upon at the time of sale or lease. This includes services covered by a warranty or any service agreement that is incidental to the sale or lease. So, for the sake of example, let's say a French company sells a piece of advanced machinery to a UK-based company. As a part of the contract, the French company agrees to provide after-sales services, including repairs and maintenance, for a period of, let's say, 5 years following the purchase. These services are detailed in a warranty agreement, which covers any defects that may occur with the machinery. As a result, the employees of the French company can travel to UK to install, service, or repair the machinery under the terms of the after-sales service agreement without needing a separate visa for those activities.
So let's make this clear with further example. Say you are an engineer employed by a company outside the UK, for example, Poland, visiting a factory in the UK to perform installation of equipment which your overseas company produced. If you are in the UK for a short period of time, simply to install the equipment and go back to your country, for which you will be paid by your Polish employer, the PA7 is likely to cover this agreement, meaning you will not need a visa. But if you are going to be paid by the UK company and stay here for a longer period of time, then you're likely to need visa, obviously, if you qualify.
Yes, and if you are from a visa-exempt country, as we mentioned earlier, you can do these activities for up to 6 months in total, usually for 2, 3 months, without applying for a visitor visa, as long as you meet all the conditions. But if you are not visa exempt, you will need to apply for a visitor visa and specify your planned activities in the application.
Now, let's talk about permitted paid engagements, or PPE. This is slightly different from PA7. PPE allows individuals to visit the UK for short-term paid work in specific professional contexts for up to 30 days.
Right. For example, university might invite a well-known academic to deliver a guest lecture, or theater company might invite an artist to perform. In these cases, the individual is being paid for the expertise, and the engagement is time limited.
Exactly. PPE is specifically for professionals who've been invited by a UK-based organization for a pre-arranged activity. Another example might be a lawyer attending a one-day arbitration hearing or a journalist covering an international event.
But here is a key point. Even if you qualify for PPE, you may still need to apply for a visitor visa depending on your nationality. And as with PA7, you will need strong documentation, including the invitation letter detailing the work and proof that the engagement is short term.
So the main difference is that PPE involves payment for professional expertise in the UK, whereas PA7 does not. And PPE is limited to 30 days, while PA7 allows activities for up to 6 months in total, usually 2, 3 months. And don't forget the visa requirements. Visa-exempt nationals might not need a visa for either PA7 or PPE, but the rules around documentation and border checks apply to everyone. So staying compliant is essential.
That's the key takeaway. Whether you are using PA7 or PPE, planning and preparation are non-negotiable. These options can be incredibly useful, but only if used correctly.
So there you have it. Permitted activities and permitted paid engagements are explained. Both offer flexibility for short-term business visits, but you need to stay within the rules to avoid any issues.
If you are unsure which route is right for you, or if your plan activities overlap categories, don't hesitate to consult an immigration professional. It's always better to double check than to risk non compliance. You may be refused entry to the UK, which would prevent you from fulfilling the contract that requires your presence in the country.
Oh, exactly. If you are unsure whether your planned activities in the UK meet the requirements for permitted activities, or you are uncertain about your visa exemption, we'd be happy to assist you. So that's all we have prepared for today. And until next time, we wish you a wonderful start to the new year, and we will see you and speak to you in our next podcast. Bye for now.
Bye!